Good afternoon. Today we are going to be talking about persuasive writing. The objectives for today's lesson are that you will be able to define an argument, counter-argument, and supporting argument, that you will be able to distinguish between should and should not and does not arguments. You should be able to identify supporting arguments for a main argument, and discuss hypothetical situations where persuasive writing skills are useful. Today's lesson was created by ICivics, and it's titled So You Think You Can Argue. So what is an argument? An argument is just a statement that someone believes is or should be true. Like, kids should be in school Monday through Saturday. A counter-argument expresses the opposite point of view. Like, kids should not have to go to school on Saturdays. I need backup. A main argument all by itself is not very strong. Supporting arguments explain why the main argument is true, so you need to back up your main argument with supporting arguments. For example, the main argument is kids should not have to go to school on Saturdays. Supporting arguments for that main argument: students need rest. Most working parents have weekends off and students need to be with their families. Some students have jobs, and students need time for other activities. Are you laboring under misconception? Here are some common myths about arguing. Number 1, an argument is just people yelling at each other. A lot of people think that when people are fighting, that is considered an argument. That is a fight, not an argument. The reality is, arguments can be very calm. An argument in writing is silent. Another myth, myth number 2, you have to totally believe in what you are arguing. Making an argument has nothing to do with how you feel. But you can think of one reason why school should be on Saturdays, can you think of one reason why school should be on Saturdays? Another myth, number 3, is every argument has a right and a wrong side. Most of the time, the two sides of an argument are just different opinions. Neither side is really right or wrong. Myth number 4, you can't be good at arguing unless you think fast on your feet. A lot of great arguing takes place on paper, where you can take as much time as you need to think everything through. So argue on paper. Why would I want to do that? Imagine this. Your state legislator is thinking about passing a law that says kids can't drive until they're 18. You want to write a letter to convince your state senator to vote against that idea. What would you say? Or this, your city decided to close a park where you always hang out and play basketball. The city officials say there was too much trouble at the park and there was trash everywhere. Would you know what to write in a letter that would convince them to reopen the park? Or even this, you bought a used truck from the car lot downtown, but the truck didn't have a stereo. The salesman told you that they would take a stereo from a different truck and install it into your truck. He said it would work great. You drove your truck home and discovered the stereo wasn't working at all. You called the car lot, but they refused to fix the problem. You want to write a letter demanding they fix the stereo. You're gonna need persuasive writing for any of those situations. What word do you see inside of the word persuasive? That's right, persuade. What does it mean to persuade someone? Does it mean A, to disturb someone about something? B, to sweat on someone? C, to convince someone that something is true? Or D, to cause someone to be confused about something? What does it mean to persuade someone? That's right, it's C. When you write persuasively, you use arguments to convince the reader that something is true. There are two different kinds of arguments. the should and should not arguments, and does not arguments. Should and should not arguments is when you argue why something should or should not be true. Does and does not arguments, you argue why something does or does not violate a rule. In should or should not arguments, you use these kind of arguments when you are arguing your opinion about something. Does and does not arguments, you use this kind of argument when there is already a rule in place. An example of a should or should not argument is, should school be held Monday through Saturday? An example of a does or does not argument, the school rule says no hats. Sarah wore a giant ribbon on her head. Did Sarah break the rule? Now we're going to talk about creating main does or does not arguments. Let's practice. Your kid sister Sarah attends Too Cool for You elementary school. The school rules say students are not allowed to wear hats inside the building. The rules say a hat is anything that covers and protects a person's head. Sarah wore a giant ribbon in her hair and got in trouble for violating the no hat rule. Did Sarah really violate the rule? What do you think? There are two possible main arguments. Sarah did not violate the rule because her ribbon is not a hat, or Sarah did violate the rule because her ribbon is a hat. What do you think? Don't answer this yet. Ha! That was a trick question. Making arguments is a skill that you learn. What you think doesn't really matter at all. You should be able to argue for both sides no matter which side you think is right. Let's try another. The park rule says, don't walk on the grass. Misty avoided a neatly mowed lawn but cut across another mowed area that was mostly weeds. Did Misty violate the rule? What are the two possible arguments for this situation? Go ahead and copy them down now. Argument number 1. Misty did not violate the rule because she walked on a weedy area, not on the grass. Argument number 2. Misty did violate the rule because there was grass in the area where she walked. Let's try one more. The beach rules say don't feed the ducks. Jason ate all but the corner of his sandwich, then tossed the last bite to a goose standing nearby. Did Jason violate the rule? What are the two possible arguments? Go ahead and write them down now. If you need more time, hit pause now until you've finished. Argument number 1. Jason did not violate the rule because a goose is not a duck. Argument number 2. Jason did violate the rule because the beach rule means any water bird and a goose is a water bird. Next, we're going to talk about developing supporting arguments for your main argument. A main argument by itself is not enough. You have to convince people why your argument is true. You do this by using supporting arguments. Hat or not? Next, let's look at some supporting arguments. You will decide which main argument each supporting argument supports. Are you ready? All right, the school rule is a hat is anything that covers and protects a person's head. Which of these is a supporting argument for the ribbon is something on her head? A. This argument supports the idea that Sarah did not violate the rule because her ribbon is not a hat. B. This argument supports the idea that Sarah did violate the rule because her ribbon is a hat. The correct answer is B. This argument supports the idea that Sarah did violate the rule because her ribbon is a hat, because it is something that is on her head. Supporting argument number 2. The ribbon is too flimsy to protect Sarah's head. Which of the following supporting arguments support this main argument? This argument supports the idea that Sarah did not violate the rule because her ribbon is not a hat, or this argument supports the idea that Sarah did not violate the rule did violate the rule because her ribbon is a hat. Which one supports the main argument, the ribbon is too flimsy to protect Sarah's head? A. Because if you look at the school rule, it says a hat is anything that covers and protects a person's head. The main argument is the ribbon is too flimsy to protect Sarah's head, therefore it does not violate the rule because the ribbon is not protecting her head. Supporting argument number 3. The ribbon does not cover all of Sarah's head. Which one do you think goes best with this argument? This argument supports the idea that Sarah did not violate the rule because her ribbon is not a hat, or this argument supports the idea that Sarah did violate the rule because her ribbon is a hat. Again, the supporting argument is the ribbon does not cover all of Sarah's head. Look back to the rule. Again, the rule says that it covers a person's head, and the ribbon does not cover all of her head, therefore, the argument supports the idea that Sarah did not violate the rule. Number 4, the ribbon could protect her head from rain or dust. Does this argument support the idea that she violated the rule or did not violate the rule? That's right, folks. It's B. This argument supports the idea that Sarah did violate the rule because her ribbon is a hat, because it's protecting her head from rain or dust. Supporting argument number 5. The ribbon would not keep Sarah's head warm. Again, this argument supports the idea that Sarah did not violate the rule because the ribbon does not protect her head. Supporting argument number 6. The ribbon covers most of Sarah's head. By now you should be getting the hang of this. The correct answer is B. This argument supports the idea that Sarah did violate the rule because the supporting argument states that the ribbon covers most of her head. Supporting argument number 7. The ribbon could protect Sarah's head from sunlight. Again, this argument supports the idea that Sarah did violate the rule because it protects her head. Supporting argument number 8. The ribbon is not fitted to Sarah's head. That's right. This argument supports the idea that Sarah did not violate the rule because if it's not fitted to her head, it does not cover her head. If you've seen one argument, you have not seen them all. Some arguments are better than others. Look at the 4 arguments below. Which one do you think is the strongest and which one is the weakest? The ribbon is too flimsy to protect Sarah's head from anything. The ribbon does not cover all of Sarah's head. The ribbon would not keep Sarah's head warm, and the ribbon is not fitted to Sarah's head. Which one do you think is the strongest argument and which is the weakest? Well, we're going to leave it up to you which one you think is the strongest and which one is the weakest, depending on what type of supporting details you could come up with. Now you're going to take a mini quiz. So go ahead And off to the side where you have extra space on your worksheet, write the answers to your mini quiz. Here we go. Number 1, you can only make an argument about something if you feel very strongly about it. Is this true or false? False. Making an argument has nothing to do with how you actually feel. It is a skill that you learn. Number 2, persuasive writing is meant to convince someone that something is true. True or false? True. It's exactly that. The whole point is to persuade someone. Number 3, all arguments are equally strong. False. Some arguments are stronger and more convincing than others. Number 4, if there is already a rule in place, you will use a should or should not argument. False. When there is already a rule, you will argue whether something does or does not violate that rule. Number 5, an argument is a statement that someone claims is or should be true. True. Whether you are arguing that Sarah did violate the rule or that students should not go to school on Saturdays, you are claiming that statement is true. Number 6, an argument can take place without any yelling at all. True. We're talking about arguments that are meant to persuade. Yelling won't help, but good reason will. Number 7, there's a right and a wrong side to every argument. False. Most of the time, different sides of an argument are just different opinions. However, people may believe very strongly that one side is correct. 8, Sarah looks very cool in her big ribbon. Everyone is entitled to an opinion, so neither one of those are wrong or right. Number 9, people often use persuasive writing when writing letters about important issues. True. Writing letters is one of the most common uses of persuasive writing in everyday life. Number 10, you use arguments to persuade someone that your viewpoint is correct. True. That's why it's called persuasive writing. All right. Well, hopefully you did well on that quiz. If you got less than a 5, you need to come see me so that we can discuss it and I can answer any questions you have. Next time, what would you do if your school suddenly changed the rules and banned something you like to wear? This sounds like trouble. That's what we're going to be talking about next.